Welcome, my name is Colleen Tauke and I'm a sewing specialist here at Fons Porter. In this Sew Easy tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do faux piecing. We've got a piece here on the sewing center, and in order to create this, we're actually just sewing them on top of strips, and you could place these into patchwork. They could be parts of borders. Your imagination is the limit on this one and how you would like to use it. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a base fabric. Maybe it's going to be part of patchwork, maybe it's going to be an inner border. And we want to add these little sections to it. And instead of having to cut and piece all of it, I've went ahead and cut some pieces. They are wider actually than the background. We're going to take them to this ironing surface and we're going to turn back all of our 1/4 inch seam allowances. Now working that close to the tip of the iron can get kind of warm, and it also is hard always to get a 1/4 inch seam allowance without stretching your fabric. So what I created was a simple little tool. All it is freezer paper folded waxy side together to create kind of a pressing ridge for use on the ironing board. So I can lay this onto my piece, and then I can use the nose of my iron to drive the fabric back over the edge and press my 1/4 inch seams back. So we get started here. I was trying to press this without a guide and then realized that's hard and my fingers got warm. This way I could come in, the freezer paper slides back out, I can reposition my fabric, come over here, roll back, and 1/4 inch seam, close to a 1/4 inch seam. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is a faux piecing kind of thing, so as long as there's enough to turn under, so they'll stay under. You don't want it down under 1/8 of an inch because it'll pop back out, but you can get close to that 1/4 inch seam and take out your little pressing guide, and you've created those little wedges that you want to put into your piecing. So we are going to take, I've got a selection of them here already ironed and ready to go. And what I'm going to do is just arrange them first to kind of decide how I want my pieces. Maybe I want to alternate the prints back and forth, and I can put them at a little bit different angle and create kind of a fun ladder kind of effect. And then I can pin them in place. Just takes a couple pins to hold them on. This could be a really fun inner border. Say you have a lot of scraps left over from something and you want to make your quilt just a little bit bigger. This would be a great way to use up those little pieces without having to go back and go, oh, how much am I gonna, how much do I cut and how do I piece them together? Lay them on top and go back and top stitch them. Now your stitching choices for thread. You can use a monofilament if you don't want to see your stitching at all. You can use a matching thread. I've got a yellow spool sitting here on the sewing center, and that's actually what I stitched the piece here that's already finished. I used for stitching there, so you can't even see my stitching line. The monofilament would be the same thing. If you wanted to do a tiny zigzag off the edge, you could use that and not see any of the stitching. Maybe your fabric changes color, and that would be a good choice then if you don't want to see the stitching. So once it's pinned and ready to go to the sewing center, I guess I'll put it so that I can easily pull my pins out. Now I'm going to be stitching with a black thread, so you're going to be able to see everything that I do. And I'm just going to edge stitch this really close. Quilter's choice on how far or how close you want to stitch. You could even use a decorative stitch at this point if you wanted to. Maybe you wanted to add maybe a metallic thread or a rayon thread with a little sheen to it. This would be the place you could also do that. So I'm going to stitch just the two sides of one piece here, because the last thing that we'll need to do is go back and trim the ends so that this piece then becomes a border. So there's how my stitching, I just edge stitched close to the fold on both sides. And then you'll want to go in with a rotary cutter or a scissors, and you can use the base fabric as your guide to trim. And you could use a rotary cutter too if you've got the whole piece done. But remember, we have scissors, those work too. So I can trim those extra pieces off, and I could have that fun inner border made in no time. Thanks for joining me today. If you'd like to see more of our Sew Easy techniques, please visit our website.